Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight for our Village of Alsip Board meeting. Today is September 3rd, 2019. We'll call this meeting order at 7:30. Can you call the roll, please?
Sure, Mayor Ryan. Trustee Dalzell.
Here.
Trustee Zielinski.
Here.
Trustee Juarez. Here. Trustee McLaughlin. Here. Trustee Murphy.
Here.
Trustee Nava Esparza. Here. Mayor Ryan.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thanks. Officers' report, starting with myself, and a couple of notes to share with everybody. Trustees, this coming Friday is the cutoff date for early bird discounts. If you plan to attend the Illinois Municipal League Conference, again, that conference runs from September 19th, 20th, and 21st. If you decide you'd like to participate, please let my Administrative Assistant Becky Smith know this week, and Becky will get you registered, whether it's for the 3-day program or a single day, and just let us know if it's a single day, which day, based on the itinerary, which classes that you might want to attend down at the Chicago Hilton, and we'd appreciate that. Next, Chief Szynski, I know you sent me this morning, I saw this last week about the safest cities to live in Illinois. That was good stuff. While Chicago's violent crime problem often gets national attention, the city's suburbs are among the safest and best places to raise a family in the country. In fact, 14 smaller Illinois cities, the majority of which are found in the greater Chicagoland, earned a score of .06 or higher on the safety index, which is very good. The FBI had a whole methodology that they used, but basically of 100 cities polled, Alsip came in 49th at .039. We were tied with Oak Lawn. Orland Park was a little bit better at 31st out of 100. Hickory Hills 27th. And Evergreen Park was 20th, so I'm really proud to see that here on the south suburbs we scored so well. But yeah, Chief, thanks for forwarding that over. It was good information. Trustees, I wanted to extend an invitation to everyone, if you're interested, this coming September 26th at 6 o'clock at night. I'll send this information to you as well, too, but we have a dinner meeting with one of the groups that we belong to here is the South Suburban Mayors and Managers. It's our turn. We're going to host the dinner that evening, and it's sponsored by Comcast. They've got a great menu here. The meeting starts at 6 o'clock with a 7 o'clock reception and dinner at the Doubletree Hotel. So if anyone's interested in attending, we need to register by the 20th of September for the 26th dinner meeting for the South Suburban Mayors and Managers. So please join us if you're able that evening.
Me too?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Just checking.
No, you too. Remember the one time we went, I had to tell people you weren't my wife and stuff like that, so. Is that your wife? No, it's the village clerk. I can't think so, I did that the whole night, I just, no, we could pass that, so.
I'll wear name badge.
Exactly, so. We're going to work on that, so. People generalizing, I guess. And that's all I have for reports. My first on the agenda, though, I had number one was an approval of an ordinance of the Village of Alsip amending Chapter 4, Alcoholic Beverages and Liquor Control, Article 2, Administration and Enforcement, Division 2, License, Section 4-69, limitation on total number of licenses of the Alsip Municipal Code. I just noticed when I didn't have in there, we were increasing the number of FG classification licenses from 9 to 10. So I apologize for the typo. Just making a note.
So you'd like me to add that to the consent agenda?
Yes.
Madam Mayor? Simply FG classification increases from 9 to 10
Yes.
licenses?
Is that correct, Becky? We're increasing the number of FG licenses from 9 to 10, correct? Yes.
I will correct that on the consent
Okay.
agenda, Mayor.
And that's all I have from my report. Clerk's report?
Thank you, Mayor Ryan. Approval of the July 2019 IDOT motor fuel tax allotment in the amount of $44,557.82. That is all, Mayor Ryan.
Okay, thank you. Attorney's report, Joe Kankar is with us tonight.
Yes, Mayor. I guess on the agenda we have a presentation for the Cannabis Regulation and Tax Act. I guess in lieu of a presentation, I guess I've handed out a memo. I believe all of you have received a copy of it. I think that goes through and kind of explains the Act's effects on the municipality. So if you have any questions, I'm willing to answer them today, but in terms of moving forward, it would be my suggestion that either we meet and have a committee go forward and try to get some regulations in place to address this as it'll go into effect on January 1, or I can take a stab at it and send it to all of you, and you can pick it apart and change stuff around as you would like. It doesn't matter to me either way, but I'll be glad to help on that process. So the IML also has a number of handouts on the web that you can look at for model ordinances and stuff. So,
Joe, that's actually what I was reading up on today, was the IML recommendations. They sent out templates for ordinance and so forth then too, but I did see on the last page that you had in the memo that we really should try and have this passed no later than October 31st and what we're going to do, just to be ready for a January 1 execution date of that.
yeah, I think if you're going to allow them, that having it done within the next couple months allows these licensees to kind of get their businesses in order, and especially, I know the tax right now is not set to go into effect on January 1. I know they were looking at a subsequent bill to fix that, but I don't know if that's going to go through or not. So.
Well, I just have questions about enforcement. I've been just meeting with other residents of Alsip, and they would just want to know what are the impairment levels kind of like. I know that might not be, like if they get pulled over or something like that, and what's the level of impairment. So.
It's similar to what it is for alcohol.
I'm
Can you
sorry.
have the microphone, Jay? I'm sorry, Chief Miller,
Kent, can you turn that one on, please?
or stand.
Here, he's got a cordless on.
Thank you, Chief.
It's going to follow the same guidelines as alcohol. If it impairs your driving abilities, it's going to follow the same DUI type standards as it would for alcohol. The Illinois Chiefs Association just put out some reading material late last week to start educating local law enforcement. So I haven't had time to go through all of that yet, but it's going to follow pretty much the same path as alcohol.
And then a member of the business community just asked about enforcement when they're, I guess, drug screening and stuff like that on the job and so forth like that. So it's like a Pandora's box. Right now I know that's a lot of literature you have to read through and stuff like that, but just wanted to throw out there just questions that have been brought to my attention, just, how to, on the employment side, how do they kind of navigate that as well?
Well, I know employers totally have the right to continue to prohibit the use of cannabis. So they can continue to have a zero tolerance policy and randomly test employees, and if you test positive, you can be terminated. I mean, the state law or making marijuana legal does not change that.
But then they just have to bring their, I guess, as a registration, like if they have it for medical use or something like that? Or
But
how does-
employers can still prohibit that. If they have a zero tolerance policy, they can, because they can restrict the use of prescription medication while you're on the job as well, because of positions like driving a forklift where you can, be impaired, and it's about employee safety. So employers can continue to 100%. My employer does not allow anybody to be on the job while impaired in any way, shape, or form. And even if you blew .01 in terms of alcohol, you can be terminated. So employers still have that right. Correct, Joe?
There's going to be there's ADA issues, but yes, in terms of the adult use aspect of it, they can absolutely prohibit it. If it's a medical use, there's always going to be jobs that are not going to, there's going to be zero tolerance for.
Okay, just wanted
Yeah.
to share what others are sharing with me, or asking. Thank you.
Joe, do you see any issues with, just on the other side of life, with even like landlords and rental agreements? That's really, it's going to speak for itself. Your lease is going to say whether or not you can smoke?
Correct.
And-
Yep, they
and-
can prohibit that as well. Right.
Exactly. Okay. So, yeah, there's a lot of different aspects of this. I thought Joe's memo was excellent. I actually was doing a lot of highlighting on my copy of everything, and I'll tell you, I did quite a bit of it here yet, too, as far as taxation, municipal powers and regulation, advertising. You know, there's even, as you noted in here, too, Joe, was that even the advertising for a business like this, the state is saying it prohibits actually putting up a sign with like a marijuana leaf or anything like that out there, too. These are going to be professionally designed signage and so forth, and it's not going to get carried away and look dopey and make your town look cheap and everything else and stuff then, too.
Pardon the
you know?
pun, yeah.
Dope.
Yeah.
That'd be a good name for a joint, Dopies. Just saying.
Dopies.
But ultimately, you can allow them, you can not allow them, you can allow smoking on premises, you can prohibit that. If you're going to allow them, then I suggest you do the tax, you know. So if you don't allow them, no point in doing the tax, obviously. So.
Well, as Joe said, this was just, and Joe was ready to speak to any questions. I thought the memo was pretty thorough. I would be my suggestion, as you just said, Joe, an upcoming meeting, committee meeting where we can take more time at this. Let's certainly put any questions in front of us, and let's have one good meeting before we discuss whether or not we want to allow the sale of this in our community, and we got to do that by the end of October.
Yeah, keep in mind that it'll affect your zoning ordinance, so we'll have to give the 30-day notice and have a hearing and then pass the ordinance, so that comes into play as well.
Okay. Trustees, any other questions? Not right now?
That's all I have.
Nope.
Thanks, Joe. Next was the engineer's report. Will was excused this evening. He had a schedule conflict. He did send me his report. He said with an MFT resurfacing report, Davis Concrete has completed the curb and gutter removal and replacement along one side of the streets during this resurfacing program. They anticipate starting removals on the opposite side of the streets starting today, Tuesday. The bulk of the work along Shirley Lane has been completed on Saturdays due to the disruption to the businesses along that particular route, because there's all businesses on Shirley Lane. So again, we're on mark. Mike, anything else that you want to add to that?
That's pretty much it.
Okay. I did get a couple of homeowners that knew my number and sent me some notes on how bad everything looked. I go, give it a chance. We got to do one side of the street and the other, and that kind of, like, oh, okay, that kind of thing, So, yeah, it's, again, we want to try and maximize the opportunity to park on all the streets. So we don't want to do both sides of the street at once, and then we really jazz everything up and stuff then, too. So, okay. Public forum. Anyone in the audience tonight wish to address the board or anything? Come on up, sir.
Mayor Ryan, trustees, good evening. My name is Aldo Valencia. I'm a client executive with the Horton Group, and I'm one of the members of the team responsible for managing the employee benefit program for the village. So I stand before you today a little bit surprised, having noticed that in today's agenda, it appears that there's another consulting operation that's slated to replace the services that we have provided for at least over the last 5 years. Over that time, we've made some recommendations which were ultimately implemented for a great savings to the village. As an example, the expected cost increase cumulatively since 2015 was expected to be just under 6%, while the actual cumulative increase came in at negative 3.70. If that's compared to PricewaterhouseCoopers' equal cumulative increase over the last 5 years at approximately 35%. I mention that because obviously we've had a long partnership with the village, which we're very grateful for, and we were hoping to continue. But as the service lead for our team, we're simply puzzled as to why, one, we weren't made aware that there potentially was going to be an RFP for the program. that it actually did go to RFP, if at all, and that ultimately a decision was made to replace the services that we provide. And I simply mention that because since we manage a large block of other municipalities, we want to make sure that despite or in spite of the positive results that we've provided the village, what else we could have possibly done to have retained the services with the village or our relationship with the village. Thank you.
Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Sir.
We would need you to sign in, please.
There was a question.
Chief, does it work? Oh, okay. I usually test before I bring it up here to make sure it hasn't like gone dry.
Very good. Anyone else?
Excuse me, Mayor. I have a question. Just concerning what this gentleman said, did our finance director, human resource department, or you not reach out to the Horton Group?
I did not. The reason being, too, is that this hasn't gone to a vote. You know, a lot of times you don't want to, in other words, the question is we weren't going out to RFP, we're simply changing the broker of record who we were looking, because Blue Cross Blue Shield actually administers the cost that we're looking at then, too. But in other words, if the board decided not to change professional services, I may start something that's unnecessary. I was waiting to see what the board's reaction was, and that's why we had a discussion at last week's meeting of just basically just change. We've been with the same company for as long as I can remember, and you know, basically all the question was I wanted to see what value-added services maybe that we could pick up by going to a competitive company that was basically, you know, like we had our HR person here speak to last week. We were discussing another company with similar benefits, representation, and so forth, yeah, too. So we're going to a good company, but, you know, basically the insurance isn't changing. We were just talking about changing brokers for professional service. And certainly there's a person here from Alliant Mesro to speak to that. If the board, you have any, want to hear from them now, we can wait till insurance, whichever.
Either way.
Okay. Renee, can I ask you to come up? Sure. Thank you.
Good evening.
Yeah. I'm sorry. You have to kind of speak right on that thing.
Right into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you prefer
Or
the
grab
handheld?
that hand.
That might be more
cordless
comfortable
one. Yeah.
for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Again, my name is Renee Formel, and I'm with Alliant Mesro. I am an insurance consultant that has worked in the brokerage industry for 23 years, and I'm very proud to be here tonight to talk about our firm. We are the 8th largest brokerage house in the country, and we are the largest public sector brokerage house in the country and in the state of Illinois. Some of my references that I personally work with: Village of Bolingbrook, Village of Riverdale, Village of Tinley Park, Chicago Ridge. I handle Oak Lawn School District, Evergreen School District, Bremen School District, and have done so for over 20 years. We had the opportunity to meet with your village. Some of the value-added services that we feel strengthen our relationship with other municipalities and self-funded employers are our analytics. So we have tools that are proprietary to our brokerage house, tools that will give prediction on large claimants, tools that will give prediction on rate increases, and just a lot of analytical tools that a village like yourself, when you're self-funded and have access to all of your insurance data, can really benefit from. And then again, speaking personally, because I've had the opportunity to work in public sector, I feel we differentiate ourselves in our service team. Our company allows us to build our team around the municipalities rather than us fitting you into our box. We have on our team 5 individuals that work day to day. I started my day today at 6 in the morning out at other public sector. We'll end tonight probably a little bit later, but really enjoy doing so. I know the value of building a strong insurance committee, dealing with unions and giving them transparency so that they can feel educated and make good decisions on their program, what it means to deal with an administration and a board, and to do the due diligence of where we're looking at your programs each year. With my clientele, and I would really ask that you look at our references and speak with the references in the neighborhood. we bring in a phone book of information each year, and we want to make sure that we are leaving nothing uncovered for you, that we have every program competitively bid out each year without even direction from our clientele. So this has resulted in very long-standing relationships. Some of the villages I mentioned I've worked with for over 10 years, and it kind of has led us to a nice organic growth of where we're being recommended at other municipalities to bring in these same services. So we want to thank you for your consideration. I'm sure everyone's very passionate here tonight about working with you. The level of a consultant, as already mentioned, is an additional layer that is put on a contract to represent you. It does not impact your program other than our ability to work with that insurance carrier. Blue Cross Blue Shield is your third-party administrator, and we are one of the top 8 brokerage houses with the top designation with them. I cannot speak to Horton, but we do have the top designation with your third-party administrator because of the large clientele that we have represented with them. So thank you tonight for your consideration, and I would love to address any questions you may have.
You also cover the city of Blue Island?
Yes, I do not handle it personally, but we do. We work with Worth Township, Oak Lawn, Blue Island.
And as I said, trustees, I can't speak for the board. I don't know which way the vote's going to go. Sometimes, but just like we are recently, we're changing. We just went out. We're looking to change possible professional services with our auditing firm. Same difference. Sometimes you put fresh eyes on things. We don't know, and that's why Renee was just, Ms. Fornell was just speaking to any possible value-added services that we feel might be beneficial to our community then too. But again, we've been with the same broker we were handed to by our previous broker, and which is why I suggested to him maybe we just try another firm and see if we get any better results out of another firm yet too.
It's just another aspect of the insurance where I believe Horton made their RFP previously with that aspect intact.
What?
The health insurance brokerage.
This comes up once a year on January 1.
I understand.
Right.
I'm just saying they had that, they were controlling that aspect of the insurance, so I'm sure they included that as part of the business that they were going to transact with us with
sure.
the RFP.
Yeah.
I noticed this past time that there was an RFP, Alliant Mesro didn't even come forward with a bid.
Right.
So what makes them worthy of getting a handout at this time?
Well, again, these are professional services. They actually did come in 2 years prior, and if you were just talking numbers, those numbers were both in principal and in deductible were more competitive than what the board approved at that time. I think just the idea that we brought out a very good competitor. I can't speak for IPRF because that's actually who controls that workman comp number. That's the one that saved us all that money. It was almost $167,000 that was discounted. That's a substantial discount. $167,000. And to think that, we had one good year? We couldn't have got any of that the year before? That's a whole other conversation. This is a different bracket. That's why I don't want to get into that. But you're kind of you're bringing in both conversations. That's the only reason I'm speaking to that.
Well, I just sort of figured it was sort of like a bundling type thing.
No.
And
this is, healthcare is, yeah. That's why Blue Cross is actually the one that handles the number. But otherwise, like anything else in this world, it's, you've got one company, and we're not saying that Horton was a bad company. We've never said that even once. But you're married to that one company forever. How do you know there might not be more value-added services elsewhere? And again, when you look at, I'm just looking at the, Alliance perspective as far as their clientele list as well. Both are good companies. Our HR person mentioned at last week's committee meeting that almost all the towns that wrap us are using the same. So we're not reinventing the wheel. We're not trying to find a Bob's Insurance to represent us. These are both very good companies. It was just like it was my question to the board was, do we try and use a different service just to oversee our insurance program? Like I said, it's a controlled number, but they're both good companies, and like I said, I think I've just heard great things about both companies, but again, I'm all about change. I'm all about trying new services from time to time and seeing if we don't benefit. And let's just say, like anything else in this world, come next year, if for some reason we're not happy with the service that was provided to us, we do this all over again. So, thanks, Renee. If you would please, you could sign in. Thank you. So, moving ahead, standing committee reports, Finance Committee, Trustee McLaurin.
First, I have a request for approval of a list of payroll dated August 30th, 2019, totaling $385,492.33. Next, I have a request for approval of accounts payable dated September 3rd, 2019. From the recap, General Fund, $85,900.87. Road and Bridge, $9,263.51. MFT, $1,034.70. Pulaski Road Corridor TIF, $2,516.50. Water and Sewer, $738,072.29. Heritage, $25,981.86, for a grand total all funds of $862,769.73. And next, Joe, are we good on number 3?
You're good.
Okay. Then finally, I have a request for approval of the collective bargaining agreement between the Village of Alsip and AFSCME. This is a 4-year contract beginning May 1, 2018 through May 1 of 2022. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Next, we have the Fire Committee report. Trustee Murphy.
I have approval to hire Tom Leah to replace Doug Daniels as a part-time fire prevention officer. And this just in, Joe Schmidt will be out on medical for at least the next 2 weeks. Chief, did you want to speak to that?
Yeah.
What you can say?
Yeah, I really can't say too
That's
much.
right.
Joe's going to be out for a little bit for medical reasons right now. We lost Doug back in July is when he resigned, so we've been a month without one fire prevention officer. Now we're going to be without Joe for a couple weeks. Tom, we're looking at starting Thursday, get his feet on the ground, and we're going to play catch-up again. So we're going to be down for a while, so we'll make it through like we normally do, but we're going to be behind for a little bit until Joe comes back, because that's a huge part of what we do in fire prevention is with Joe. So with Tom Leah, it's a great asset. You can't wait to get him going. He's been doing this for over 30 years, so it's going to be a huge, huge plus for us and moving forward with the village with fire prevention. So looking forward to it.
Thanks, Tom.
And number 2, I have approval to purchase 2 2020 F-150 pickup trucks to replace car number 2011-2007 Explorer and car 2001-2010 Explorer for a cost not to exceed $63,636. Terry's Ford was the lowest price. This has been budgeted for this fiscal year. And that's all I have, Mayor.
We had a discussion, too, last week, Chief Stasinski, or Chief Miller kind of agreed. Jay, you were at a conference recently, and those pickups are pretty competitively priced right now against the Explorers yet, too?
Yeah, or slightly less.
Slightly less even
than
yet, too.
Explorers, yes.
So, again, trustees, we're not buying like that Interceptor package or anything like that, but it's something that you felt is sufficient for your use.
Right. It's actually one of the advantages of being able to keep our turnout gear and our SCBA separate out of the passenger compartment, because what we're seeing with cancer studies now is with all the carcinogens, with smoke and stuff like that. So it's just one of our steps we're looking to take a proactive approach to cancer prevention in our department.
Thank you, Chief. By the way, trustees, I wanted to share with everybody, too. I was along last week with the hazmat drill with the fire department. You guys did a nice job bringing out. You had both Marionette Park and Crestwood that assisted getting basically a subject out of a 2-story recessed reservoir That was kind of interesting to watch and stuff then too, Chief. How'd the meeting go after that, okay?
Yeah, very well. We learn out of it. We test their internal plan. We have to do that every year. But we also test our abilities of what we respond with, the resources that we have, how to acquire more resources, and what training we got to make sure that we provide for our personnel. Especially in our village, the way our village is made up, we have a lot of potential of technical rescue and hazardous materials. So we want to make sure we're always on the cutting edge of not only training but our equipment as well.
I stood with all the personnel from the Arkema plant, and they're all pretty impressed. They didn't know that was coming at all and stuff then too, so that was good. Yeah, your guys, I hear these guys go out there early in the morning and plant a mannequin at the bottom of the pit. And it was in some what we determined was non-toxic liquid and stuff then too. But it was good to see everybody got in the game and did what they were supposed to do. So thanks, Chief.
I have a question. What do we do with the old trucks? Are those going to be auctioned, or?
One of them we'll probably use for pub ed just a little bit longer. The other one, I don't know if the mayor wants to use it for a pool. We've typically in the past have traded them in when we bought new cars. We normally don't keep them for auction because we just got to keep them around for several months. So it's either to trade them in or if we're going to use them as pool cars. That's up to the mayor what he wants to do.
The 2000, we talked about that at the department head meeting last week. The 2010 unit, Public Works asked if they could repurpose it for them because the other unit that Mike gave up is basically rusting out pretty bad. It's falling apart. So we might replace it or whatever the case might be then stuff then too. But this one's better than the other and everything's been paid for and stuff then too. So, and again, it's already equipped with most things that you need in there too. It's got a hitch on it and all that kind of stuff then too, right? Okay. So yeah, we can repurpose that to the Public Works and maybe even auction off one of your brown one or something like that then too. See what you want to do, whatever. But that red one, that was Deputy Chief's vehicle, right?
Yeah, it was my original one when I became deputy. Now Deputy Chief Ricker has it.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, we're going to repurpose that probably. Next, the Police and Traffic Safety Report. Trustee Dalzell.
The approval to build 3 police Ford Explorers, the Public Safety Director, at a cost not to exceed $65,000. New builds include cameras at $5,200 apiece, the installation of new equipment, the stripping of the old equipment, and other equipment purchases such as lighting. They'll be recycling 3 rifle racks, 3 sideband radios, and 3 siren control boxes. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Public Work and Boat Launch. Trustee Juarez.
I have an approval to purchase one 2020 Freightliner 108 SD dump truck with the snowplow and salt spreader through Sourcewell NJPA, and the amount not to exceed $177,803. And I also have an approval to award White Line Construction the sidewalk removal replacement program, and the amount not to exceed $60,000. White Line was the lowest bid submitted per unit price. That's all, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. The Sewer and Water Report. Trustee Nava-Esparza.
Approval to award the Pulaski TIF water main extension to the lowest bidder, Aries Inc., in the amount of $402,541.00. And that's all, Mayor.
Danny, thanks for coming in tonight. I know you're off today, right? Yeah, thanks for coming in. I'll get you some information in my mail today. That EPA loan that we were going for came in, and it looks like they're going to give that to us and stuff then too. So nice job. Good job on that, Dan. Next is the Building and Health Report. Trustee Zelinski.
I have approval of a special event from Walgreens at 12290 South Pulaski on Saturday, September 14th, 2019, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Also, there was, for the building department, there was 119 permits issued, and the amount collected was $23,774.00. That's all I have under building.
Nice. Thank you. Next, the Human Resource and Insurance Committee. Trustee Murphy.
I have approval of Alliant Mesero Insurance Services to be the new broker for the village employee health care insurance with an effective renewal date of 1/1/2020 through 1/1/2021. And that's all I have, sir.
Thank you. Special Committee Reports. Economic Development. Trustee Nava-Esparza.
I'd like to ask Assad, Kauser, and Dina from Diliberto Real Estate Group to to come up. Thank you. And I have an update from Diliberto Real Estate Services regarding the bid package and marketing strategy for the 11706 through 30 South Pulaski Road parcels owned by the Village of Alsip.
Thank you, Trustee Esparza, for having us over. My name is Assad. I have Dino Diliberto here with me. I'd like to start off by thanking you for hiring us for the job. As you know, that we've been hired to sell the 3 parcels off Pulaski Avenue, Pulaski Road, and so far we've made good progress. I think just within the last week and a half since we got approval for the bidders information package, we've got a list of about 15 to 20 people who have inquired about the property. We've got some developers and builders in there, some local restaurant owners. I think last week Frank came in himself and was able to introduce you to Hoffenfeld. You want to go on about that?
Oh yeah, we had a good meeting with John E. Hoffman's right-hand man. That's regarding that property as well as future developments on Cicero and Pulaski. So we're going to discuss that tomorrow with you guys in our meeting. But as far as marketing efforts,
Excuse me, I'm sorry, could you state your name for the record?
Dino Diliberto.
Thank you.
So far we've listed the property up on Crexi, which is a primary platform to list commercial real estate. We've used LoopNet. We're on CoStar. We're on the MLS. We look to advertise in local newspapers, probably the Daily Southtown, in the Patch. So we're looking to get more inquiries in the coming weeks or so. And typically we submit a seller report every 2 weeks. So you'll get a detailed report in terms of what our outreach has been and who has inquired. We'll give you detailed information on what they're asking, what number they're looking to come in at. But so far, the progress has been good. Like I said, there's 2 restaurant owners, one of whom I think is coming in tomorrow to meet with you. He's the owners of Reza's Restaurant. One location he has, I think, in Andersonville, and the other one's in Oak Brook. And besides that, we had a gentleman who came in. I can't remember his name. He owns a Mexican restaurant over here in Alsip, and he inquired about it. We had a couple people who own car dealerships who asked about the property. We are entertaining those people, but I know that's not the ideal use. We also had EMAR properties. They've built a lot in the southwest suburbs, and they're looking to possibly build a strip mall here. And they've got a handful of tenants that they work with. Some of them are national tenants. So we're looking forward to working with these people as we move forward.
I actually just, about a week ago, I ran into one of our local merchants who's got a business here now as a restaurant, who he's leasing, and he's actually looking to build right now, too. We had a real good meeting, short meeting. He was actually in just showing, Roger Early, I had to excuse him from tonight's meeting. We have a sewage problem over at one of the Heritage Buildings. He's got his hands tied up with a contractor right now, but Roger was here, and he shared that idea with us. So he's looking at both the EDCA property, and he's looking at the other one that's next to Charlie's Auto Repair yet, too. So we're looking at one of those 2 properties right now, then, too. So really looking forward to it. He's a good established business. I don't want to use his name right now, but, yeah, he might decide to build something instead of leasing like he is now.
One thing that I wanted to add, Mayor, is that if you guys receive any inquiries, it's best to forward them our way. From what I understand,
sure.
I spoke with that restaurant owner. So he inquired about the property, I want to say about a week or so ago, and we had a really good conversation. Then I followed up with him earlier this week, and he said that he spoke with Mr. Early, I think it is, and he might have said that the Village of Alsip is looking to build a strip mall there. So at the end of the day, we want the best use. That's what we've been hired for the best and highest use. But at the same time, we don't want to leave anyone out.
Sure.
So if he does want to build a restaurant there, that's a great idea, and that'll bring good revenue to the village. So just for future reference, you should just forward people to us because
understood. And Becky, we'll just make sure we forward that over to them when they're looking for that property then too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if you guys have any questions, we're here.
Also, we had a meeting, Becky and I met about 2 weeks ago with the Condesta Del Mar people, and they said exactly the same thing. They're interested in all offers right now, and good to hear. I know they had a crew out last week to clean up all their landscape out there and whatnot, and that's always nice to see at least once a month that they do that, but we want to see them get rid of that property for development. So they're excited about trying to really promote that thing now, too, at the same time. So thank you for your work over there, gentlemen. And, yeah, if you would sign in for the clerk that you spoke to us tonight. But looking forward to that auction. Is going to happen September 24th, right? Okay. Thank you. Any questions, trustees? Okay. Next, the IT, trustee Dalzell. I'm sorry, ordinance and I got to move all the way back up. Village properties, trustee McLaughlin.
I have no report this evening, Mayor.
Okay. Ordinance and legislation, trustee Zelinski.
Have an approval to increase the CalSag Enterprise Zone to 14.58 square miles. This means Hazel Crest increased by 0.55 square miles, Homewood increased by 0.39 square miles, Markham increased by 1.36 miles, and Oak Forest increased their participating area by 0.48 square miles. And that's all I have tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. And I just before the start of the meeting, trustees, I met with trustee Zelinski, that Mary Schmidt, who is the manager of the CalSag Enterprise Zone, did send us information. I forwarded to everybody. If you didn't get it, please let me know. But as Kent's concerned, he was correct. We did submit back in 2016 to expand our enterprise zone by a little bit, and it was only until just last year it was approved. One of the villages, I think it might have been Harvey, had an issue with getting a board together, and they did approve it just last year, so that we're set on our side of things then too. So we're not approving something for somebody before we even got our own taken care of. It's been done. Next, the IT, trustee Dalzell. I know, I missed my check mark there. So.
The approval of purchase Central Square Technologies Navaline Click-to-Gov online building permit system and the utility billing capabilities and an annual access fee of $8,652. This covers licensing and support maintenance, plus the one-time setup fee of $10,800. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Next, planning and zoning and licenses, trustee Juarez.
I have an approval of a list of licenses dated August 12th through August 23rd, 2019. I have an approval of an ordinance of the Village of Alsip granting a variation for the height of a storage warehouse on property commonly known as 12200 South Laramie Avenue, Alsip, Illinois. That's all, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Trustees, any presentations, petitions, or communications you want to share? None? Did anyone want to remove anything from the consent agenda?
Letter M.
M?
Also, can I make a correction to the consent agenda at this time?
Sure.
At least based on the printout I have, we're missing letter Q. P and Q kind of get swished all together, and it should be two
you're
separate
right.
motions there.
Yeah. Where it comes in the capital letters at the very end. This is actually two reports that was combined. That should say
Okay.
Q.
Okay, so letter P on the approval agenda, on the consent agenda, is approval of a list of licenses dated August 12th through August 23rd, 2019, and letter Q is approval of an ordinance of the Village of Alsip granting a variation for the height of a storage warehouse on the property commonly known as 12200 South Laramie Avenue, Alsip, Illinois.
Good catch. All right, then can I get a motion to establish a consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call number one to establish the consent agenda. Item M as Mary has been removed. Trustee Dalzell?
Yes.
Trustee Zelinski?
Yes.
Trustee Juarez?
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin?
Yes.
Trustee Murphy?
Yes.
Trustee Navas Barza?
Yes.
Motion carries to approve, to establish the consent agenda, I'm sorry.
Motion to approve the consent agenda is presented.
Second.
Roll call number two to approve the consent agenda. To offer a little clarification, letter A is approval of an ordinance of the Village of Alsip amending Chapter 4, Alcoholic Beverages and Liquor Control, Article 2, Administration and Enforcement, Division 2, License, Section 4-69, limitation on a total number of licenses of the Alsip Municipal Code, FG classifications to increase from 9 to 10 licenses. Approval of a list of payroll dated August 30th, 2019, totaling $385,492.33. Letter D is in David, approval of a list of accounts payable dated September 3rd, 2019, totaling $862,769.73. Letter N is in Nancy, approval to increase the CalSag Enterprise Zone 2, not by, to 14.58 square miles. This means Hazelcrest increases by 0.55 square miles, Homewood increases by 0.39 square miles, Markham increases by 1.36 square miles, and Oak Forest increases their participating area by 0.48 square miles. Again, this is roll call number 2 to approve the consent agenda as presented. Trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Zelinski.
Yes.
Trustee Juarez.
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin.
I would like to vote no to A and Q. He said I should do it that way.
And then for the record, you are voting
Yes, on the
approval for the
remainder,
other,
yes.
for the remainder. So Trustee McLaughlin has voted no to letter A and letter Q. So that's a C below. Trustee Murphy,
I'm lost.
are you approving the consent agenda as presented?
Yes.
Trustee Nava Esparza?
That never happened before.
Yes. Okay, motion carries. So to fill in other items,
Getting lost or being confused?
Little of each.
letter A is now known as ordinance number 2019-09-1, and letter Q will be known as ordinance number 2019-09-2.
We're all set. We're returning to the item that was removed, letter M, approval of Alliant Mesro Insurance Services to be the broker of the village employee health care insurance with an effective renewal date of January 1st, 2020 through January 1st, 2021. Trustee Zelinski, did you have a question on that?
Yeah, before we go into that, the clerk sent us an email this past week on another vendor that was interested in being our broker. How come we're not exploring that one?
That was, what was that again?
Give me 1 second, please.
I think that was the company that came in with the RFP that, remember, they were just going to, they didn't even offer a price. They said they'll just come in and manage your program for you. And certainly, they weren't part of that discussion of our committee meeting last week and stuff. And he jumped in this week sending something to the clerk. He didn't even send it to me.
The email was received by myself on August 27th at 8:37 a.m. From Daniel Berkwit. Subject line is RFP for work comp and package policy. The email reads, we insure several cities, villages, townships, fire districts, school districts, colleges, and libraries in Cook County. Do you ever put the insurance program out for RFP? He signed it, kindest regards, Daniel Berkwip. He is with Connor and Gallagher OneSource. I forwarded this email on August 28th at 9:49 p.m. to Shanae and Kent with a copy to Mayor Ryan and Trustee Murphy as he is the head of the insurance committee. And then separately, I forwarded it to Trustee Zelinski, who's a member of the insurance committee, and Trustee Juarez, who's also a member of the insurance committee, as to not violate Open Meetings Act.
Exactly. So anyway, they weren't part of that discussion that we had on the 27th when we had a committee discussion. Sent in something afterward that we were looking to vote on this matter this coming week, and we weren't asking for RFPs. We were asking to change the broker of record, and that was the question. We weren't looking for RFPs on something like this, so, which I didn't feel was pertinent to the conversation.
So I have a question now also. Can we table this for another?
I think that's the reason that we had it. It was brought to my attention that what we don't want to do is we don't want to, as a professional change, you don't want to jam up Blue Cross Blue Shield, because they're only going to offer a price to one broker. And you certainly don't want to hand it to one broker and say, well, I'm going to take that from you because I decided to give it to another broker. I felt that was unnecessary, and according to what we've been told so far, that number is going to be available mid-September, which is in a week or so. So, which is why this time frame came up. So that's why we brought it to a vote today.
So that's a no for the table then?
Yes.
Okay.
Only because Trustee has a great question, but I think only because of the timing involved. I think, it's a January 1 renewal, but I think it would really be unprofessional to jam everybody up like that.
Mayor, just for clarity, that email was, the subject matter was for RFP for workman's comp, was for a workman's comp package policy.
That's kind of...
I'm sorry, Trustee Murphy, that I'm misreading that into the record.
Yeah, and this was for health care.
Exactly, and thank you. That's where I viewed that the same way. They were actually addressing something that we weren't even talking about. That was done back in May. That's when we met that organization, but it was back in May then, too.
Okay, and just, if we are going to vote on it tonight, I'd just like to bring one more thing in without being too political, even though it's going to get that way. I
don't know why.
One of the slates on the previous election received funds, campaign funds from the new vendor asking for this right, and I'd like to respectfully ask that those people abstain from the vote.
You know what? One, we never discussed politics in the room, but two, I can say that no funds were exchanged for that.
I guess we're done.
So,
I just want to go on record saying that it's not an opinion, it's what I know to know that Mesereau has linkage with a campaign donation that Mayor Ryan got to his campaign.
No,
and
I just said we don't discuss politics in the room. We certainly won't discuss a campaign donation.
that's what it is.
No,
That's
you can't.
exactly what it is.
There is no campaign donations, and we don't discuss campaign donations in the boardroom. We keep politics out of the room, Trustee. That's
Because it's for your benefit.
No, Trustee. We don't discuss politics in the boardroom. Now, can I get a motion and a second, please, if we're going to vote on this evening? I think everyone has an opinion. I've got one. I think this is a great company. I didn't have a problem with the old company, but again, we were handed to a company, and I've been here 2 years in this position, and even as a trustee, when I was with the insurance committee, that chairperson never shopped the insurance. That person is no longer with us actually right now, but didn't do anything with looking out for what might be a better interest for our administration. We don't know that there won't be a savings. We don't know what lays behind door number 2 unless you open the door and find out.
Mayor, you've been shopping for insurance for 2 years. The company that you're proposing showed little to no interest in either RFP. And now what you're going to do to a current vendor that's treated us well and fair all along, you're going to pull the rug out underneath them and hand it to somebody else.
I don't see it that way. I think, let's put it this way. The current auditor that we have, great company, we didn't say they did anything wrong, but we also felt we needed some fresh eyes on our books. And like I said, with the current broker that we have for our health care insurance, it's been with the same person forever, and another person handed us to them. We've never tested the waters.
You went out for 2 years to RFP.
That's on a whole different subject. That was workman comp. This is a fixed number through Blue Cross Blue Shield. This has nothing to do with commissions or anything like that.
And there's going to be no additional services.
We just heard that there could be, yes.
There could be.
No, there is. What am I saying? Right. There was. It's your opinion, right, Bill? So, can we move on with business, please? I mean,
I'll make the motion for approval of Alliant Mesero Insurance Services to be the new broker of the Village Employee Health Care Insurance with an effective renewal date of 1/1/2020 through 1/1 of 2021.
Second.
Roll call number 3 to approve letter M as in Mary, approval of Alliant Mesero Insurance Services to be the new broker of the Village Employee Healthcare Insurance with an effective renewal date of 1/1/2020 through 1/1/2021. I'm sorry. Again, this is roll call number 3 for approval. Trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Zelinski.
No.
Trustee Juarez.
That's a strong no.
Trustee McLawhorn.
Yes.
Trustee Murphy.
Yes.
Trustee Navas Esparza.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next, we have, trustees, any unfinished business? Any new business? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for joining us this evening. We'll adjourn this meeting at 8:26. Thank you for coming in tonight, folks. Enjoy the rest of your night.